All right, Raider Nation, sit tight, because we're diving headfirst into the heart of the offseason grind. This isn't just about who looked good in OTAs or who made a flashy play in minicamp. Nah, this is about the full picture, the stories, the context, the big moves that set the tone for the season. Some of these guys didn't even need to step on the field to come out as winners. That's the beauty of the offseason. It's a chessboard, and the Raiders, they've been moving pieces with intent. Let's start with a guy who rarely gets the shine he deserves, AJ Cole. Yeah, we're talking about the punter. And before anyone rolls their eyes, let's make something real clear. When you become the highest paid punter in National Football League history, you're a winner. No debate. The man signed a 4-year extension worth over $15 million with 1 year still left on his original deal. That shows how much belief the front office has in him. Special teams don't get talked about much, especially during the offseason when everyone's drooling over rookie QBs and flashy wide receivers. But locking in AJ Cole for the long haul was a move that shows the Raiders are serious about maintaining elite field position. He's not just a foot, he's a weapon. You pair him up with Daniel Carlson and you've got arguably the best punter kicker. Combo in the league. That kind of stability, it wins games. It changes outcomes. So shout out to AJ Cole for securing the bag and continuing to be one of the most consistent pieces on this roster. Now moving on to a name that raised a lot of eyebrows this offseason, Geno Smith. Yeah, he's wearing silver and black now, and honestly, it might be the best thing that's happened to him in a while. Coming from Seattle, where the wide receiver room was stacked with talent like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, you might assume he's taken a step back. But hold up. Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer, Devontae Adams, that's not a downgrade. That's just a different flavor of dangerous. And what about protection? The Raiders' offensive line is trending up. It's got more structure, more depth, more potential than what Geno had protecting him up in the Pacific Northwest. And let's not forget the coaching staff. Chip Kelly's in the building. Greg Olsen's got his hands on the QB room. Tom Brady is hovering around in the front office with his championship DNA. And then there's John Spytek, who's had success developing journeyman quarterbacks before. Geno's got support, now real support. And after everything that happened with the Seahawks sniffing around Sam Darnold, this fresh start feels like a blessing. He gets a chance to hit the reset button and show the league once again that he's not just a placeholder, he's a competitor. He's got fire. He's got unfinished business. And Las Vegas might just be the place where he finishes it. And then we got to talk about the heartbeat of this defense, Maxx Crosby. If you want to talk winners, you can't leave out Max. Not only did he lock down a massive 3-year extension worth over $100 million, making him one of the highest paid non-quarterbacks in the league at the time, but he also got exactly what he asked for from the organization. This offseason wasn't just about his money, it was about his voice being heard. Max wanted a stability. He was tired of the constant turnover on the defensive staff and in the locker room. He went to the top brass and said, keep Patrick Graham, keep Rob Leonard, build something, don't just patch it. And they listened. That's a win in itself. But combine that with the fact that he's fully healthy, locked in, and more motivated than ever to prove he's the best defensive end in the NFL. And yeah, Maxx Crosby is sitting pretty. He's not just a face of the franchise, he's the soul. And this franchise made it clear they're riding with him. Now let's shift gears to the young blood. Rookie cornerback Darian Porter, drafted in the 3rd round, 68th overall. And from day one, this dude has been running with the first team. That says a lot, especially when you consider who's coaching him, Pete Carroll. The man is a wizard when it comes to molding long-rangey, intelligent corners. The name Richard Sherman gets thrown around a lot when talking about Porter, and not just because of the frame or the play style, but the mindset. Sherman went to Stanford. He's a cerebral guy. And Porter, he's cut from that same cloth. He's already bulked up 15 pounds since draft night, knowing full well he's going to be battling with big physical receivers every week. But more, other than that, he's picking up the playbook fast. He's soaking in everything like a sponge. Pete Carroll sees the potential, and so far Porter's doing everything to turn that potential into production. This isn't just a guy who might contribute down the line. This is a guy who could be a day one difference maker. Let's keep the rookie train rolling, because another guy making noise is tight end Michael Mayer. Last year, there was a lot of talk about how the Raiders weren't quite sure how to use him. New coaching staff, new schemes, new pieces around him. It was all kind of a mess. But now things are different. Chip Kelly is here, and from what we've heard out of minicamp, MAYER has been one of the focal points of this offense. The staff made it clear they weren't interested in trading him, even when his name got tossed around during the Dolphins drama. That's a sign. That tells you they're committed to making MAYER a big part of what's coming. And this isn't just lip service. They've been running tighter end-heavy sets, and they've been force-feeding him targets in practice. He's finally going to get used the way he was meant to. A big-bodied mismatch nightmare who can work the middle of the field and be a safety net for whoever's under center. MAYER walked into this offseason with questions about his future. He walks into training camp with clarity and confidence. That's a huge win. And speaking of big wins, DJ Glaze. You might not have heard his name buzzing as loud as some of the others, but let me tell you something, this guy has been quietly handling business. The Raiders had opportunities to take offensive tackles early in the draft. They didn't. That's not an accident. That's belief. Glaze stepped into camp and proved he belongs as a starting right tackle. That kind of performance gives the entire offensive line a shot in the arm. And when you pair that with the addition of Alex Kappa and the movement of Thayer Munford to guard, it's all starting to click. The coaching staff believes in DJ Glaze, and if they didn't, they'd have already made moves to replace him. Hell, they still haven't extended Colton Miller yet, which tells you just how much confidence they have in the other side of the line. Glaze isn't just a name on a depth chart. He's part of the foundation now. Then we got Dante Thornton Jr. And listen, this kid is built different. A 4th-round pick, but he's already leapfrogged Jack Beck, who was taken ahead of him. That outside receiver spot, it's his to lose. He's been working with the first team all off-season, and his speed is something that defenses are going to have to respect. You can't teach that kind of athleticism. And what's even better, his vibe, his energy. Teammates are already gravitating toward him. He brings a spark that this offense desperately needed. And when you pair that kind of speed with Geno Smith's ability to throw deep, you're talking about real fireworks. Even if he's not getting the ball every play, he's opening up space. He's stretching the field. He's doing the dirty work that makes everyone else better. That's what winners do. On the defensive side, Jeremy Chinn made headlines the second he signed that 2-year, $16 million deal. And unlike a lot of guys who get paid, and Coach Chinn has been showing out. Next to Maxx Crosby, he's been the most consistent defender this offseason. With Robert Spillane gone with the secondary being retooled, Chinn's role becomes even more crucial. He's expected to fill that hybrid linebacker safety spot, that Cam Chancellor type enforcer. Physical, fast, relentless. He's not just here to play, he's here to lead. Don't be surprised if he ends up wearing a captain's patch by the time week 1 rolls around. Now, let's talk about Trey Tucker. Look, a few months ago, there were real concerns about whether Tucker would even make the roster. The Raiders went out and drafted multiple wide receivers. The pressure was on. But instead of folding, Tucker rose up. He's been electric. Speed, precision, chemistry with Geno, everything's clicking. For the first time in his career, he's going to be playing with a legitimate NFL quarterback, and that's going to make all the difference. Right now, he's WR2 behind Jacoby Myers. And with Devontae Adams commanding so much attention, Tucker could be the guy who sneaks into the spotlight. And then at number 1, we've got Ashton Jeanty, the crown jewel of this offseason. The Raiders made it clear with the 6th overall pick that they believe in this kid. And everything since then has only confirmed it. They've built the roster around him. They've added depth. They've tailored the scheme. They've set the table for Jeanty to walk in and feast. He's humble. He's hungry. He's explosive. He's everything Pete Carroll wants in a lead back. And the whole organization is behind him. That's not just a win. That's a launch pad. And here's where things get even more real, because when we talk about winners, it's not just about the stats or the contracts or who got the spotlight in minicamp. It's about momentum. It's about those guys who took control of their narrative, who changed how the coaching staff looks at them, who made the most of every opportunity. Because when training camp rolls around, it's not just talent that wins. It's preparation, it's attitude, it's hunger, and the Raiders, they've got a room full of dogs ready to bite. Let's circle back to Trey Tucker for a minute. This guy came into the offseason with his back against the wall. Let's be honest, the Raiders drafting 3 receivers put him directly in the crosshairs. A lot of fans thought it was a wrap. Thought maybe he'd be the odd man out. But guess what? He balled out. Every practice, every drill, every snap, Tucker made it count. And it's not just the straight line speed, it's the route running, it's the hands, it's the understanding of the system, and maybe most importantly, it's the chemistry he's building with Geno Smith. That stuff matters. It's real. And it shows. You can see it in the way Geno looks his way during red zone drills. You can feel it in the way the coaches talk about him now compared to last year. This is a dude who knows it's make or break. And he's not just surviving, he's thriving. The Raiders brought in competition to test him, and he responded by stepping up, by locking down that number 2 role, and by reminding everyone exactly why he belongs. And if you want to talk about pressure, no one had more of it than Ashton Jeanty. Top 10 pick, new system, brand new expectations, a fan base starved for a dynamic presence in the backfield. The noise was loud, but through it all, Jeanty kept his head down and worked. And now we're hearing things like franchise cornerstone, like every down back, like offense built around him. That's not hype. That's earned. He's got that rare mix of burst and balance vision and violence. He doesn't just run the ball, he punishes defenders. And when you see how this offensive scheme has taken shape, how the blocking assignments are built, how the passing tree is laid out, how the motion is used to manipulate the defense, you realize real quick that Jeanty isn't just a weapon. He's the focal point. The Raiders looked at what teams like the Eagles did with Saquon Barkley and said, let's do that, but better. They want to control the clock, they want to control the trenches, and they want Jeanty leading the way. There's also something deeper going on here. Pete Carroll's culture. It's infecting the building in all the best ways. You can feel the competition, the accountability, the energy. And it's not just coach speak. You see it in the way veterans are showing up early. You see it in the way rookies are staying late. You see it in the locker room vibe, how the guys talk about each other, push each other, challenge each other. That environment, it creates winners, it reveals who's ready to rise and who's gonna fall. So when you see names like Jeanty and Tucker and Glaze shining, it's not just about individual performance, it's about how they've responded to the environment Pete Carroll has built. That whole always compete mindset, it's real, it's alive, and it's working. And let's not forget about the leadership behind the scenes. Tom Brady's presence in the front office is something you can't quantify on a spreadsheet, but you better believe it matters. When the greatest quarterback of all time is in the building, players take notice. Standards go up. Focus sharpens. Everything gets tighter. And you know Brady's watching closely. He's mentoring. He's guiding. He's challenging guys to be more than just players, to be professionals, to be accountable, to chase greatness. That ripple effect. It's touching every corner of this roster. Guys like Geno Smith and Maxx Crosby aren't just leaders now. They're extensions of that mentality. They're setting the tone, and the rest of the locker room is following. And while we're talking culture and tone setters, let's give some real respect to Chinn again. He didn't just sign a deal and clock in. He came to Vegas with a purpose. From day one, he's been one of the loudest voices in meetings, one of the sharpest minds on the field. He's embraced that hybrid safety linebacker role like it was custom built for him. And with Patrick Graham's defense being as flexible and aggressive as it is, Chinn's versatility is going to be huge. And they're lining him up everywhere. Deep safety box, defender, nickel, even some outside coverage. He's playing like a guy who knows he's not just filling a role. He's redefining it and considering the leadership vacuum left behind when veterans departed. Chinn stepping up as a vocal presence has been massive. He's not just a plug-and-play guy. He's becoming a foundational piece. Same goes for MAYER. There was a moment early in the offseason when folks questioned if he'd get lost in the shuffle. Brock Bowers came in. The offense shifted. New coordinator, new philosophies. But MAYER didn't flinch. He adapted. He grinded. And by all accounts, he's carved out a critical role in what's shaping up to be a tight end-friendly system. Don't be surprised if we see a lot of 2 tight end sets this year with MAYER and Bowers both on the field. That's a nightmare matchup for defenses. One's a seam stretcher, the other's a technician underneath, and both are willing blockers. That's the kind of flexibility that gives this offense an edge. And the best part, MAYER's been locked in. He's leaned into the competition instead of shrinking from it. That's what winners do. They elevate. And then you've got Dante Thornton Jr., a guy who's starting to feel like a draft day steal. Every team talks about finding value in the mid-rounds, but what the Raiders are getting with Thornton might be more than just value. It might be a breakout. From the start of rookie camp to now, Thornton's been consistent, explosive, and engaged. He's got that perfect blend of size and speed that makes him a matchup problem on the outside. But more than that, he's fitting into the culture. He's bought in. Coaches love his attitude. Teammates love his work ethic. And when you've got veterans like Geno and Jacoby taking time to mentor him, it shows they see something real. Then all chemistry is starting to build. And in a league where one or two big plays can swing momentum for weeks, Thornton's ability to stretch the field vertically could be a game changer. Even when he's not getting the ball, he forces defenses to account for him. That kind of presence, it opens up everything underneath. DJ Glaze, meanwhile, continues to hold it down in the trenches. And if there's one thing that always gets overlooked in off-season evaluations, it's the big boys up front. But let's keep it real. No offense operates without a reliable tackle, and Glaze has proven he can be just that. The Raiders didn't. Draft an offensive lineman early because they didn't need to. That's a vote of confidence. And when you combine that with the adjustments they've made, bringing in Alex Kappa, shifting Munford inside, it's clear the staff is building around Glaze, not past him. That's respect. That's belief. And that's earned, not given. Maxx Crosby remains the emotional center of this team. His offseason wasn't just about dollars. It was about power, influence. For the first time in a long time, the Raiders listened to a player and acted on it. They kept his preferred coaches. They shaped their defensive priorities around his feedback. And in return, Maxx is more driven than ever. He's not just a sack artist. He's a tone setter, a culture guy, someone who holds teammates accountable and refuses to let the standard drop. That's rare. That's special. And when you've got a star who's also your hardest worker, your most vocal leader, and your emotional anchor, that's a team worth betting on. Darian Porter deserves his shine too. There's something about the way he moves, the instincts, the timing, the patience. It's all there. But what really sets him apart is how quickly he's picked up the mental side of the game. NFL corners don't survive on athleticism alone. You gotta know routes, know tendencies, know how to disguise coverages. And Porter is already ahead of the curve. Pete Carroll saw it early and started working him with the ones. That's not charity, that's performance. And when you got a coach with Carroll's pedigree, especially with defensive backs putting that kind of trust in a rookie, it means something. It means Porter isn't just a project, he's a player. And then there's Geno. People want to talk about his contract or question whether he still got it. But inside the building, there's no question. The belief is real. Geno came in and immediately took ownership of the offense. He's building relationships. He's leading. And most importantly, he's delivering in practice. Timing, accuracy, leadership. This isn't just a guy passing time before the next big name arrives. This is someone who knows this is his moment. And he's not letting it slip. So when you take a step back and look at this whole picture, it's not just about individual names on a list. It's about the direction of the franchise, the tone of the locker room, the identity that's forming. The Raiders aren't just stockpiling talent. They're building something cohesive, something intentional. From rookies to veterans, from offense to defense, from staff to players, everyone seems to be pulling in the same direction. That's not easy to find in this league. But when you do find it, that's when the real winning begins. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that's already sending shockwaves through the NFL rumor, mill whispers are growing louder out of Las Vegas. Could the Raiders be on the verge of a stunning reunion with Darren Waller and an equally shocking departure for MAYER? Sources close to the team have hinted that discussions around Waller's return have gained serious traction in recent days. The tight end, once a cornerstone of the Raiders' offense and a fan favorite, left the team amid controversy and questions over his health and usage.